Hello and welcome to another edition of Now Showing. I'm your host, Matthew Fox, and as I do every Sunday, I'm going to be running you through all the movies I saw this week, giving you my thoughts. It was a packed week, so let's dive in. The first one that I had a chance to see is the horror movie Barbarian. It opened in theaters on September 9th. It features a very interesting concept going into the spooky season. Like most critics, I would recommend going into this one with as little knowledge as possible. I didn't even watch a trailer, so I won't spoil the fun by discussing the plot, but I'll just say this film subverted my expectations in the very best way. Georgina Campbell and Bill Skarsgård are great, but the best performance might well belong to Justin Long. It's unexpected, it's fun, and it's really engaging. This was a very creative film and one that made a big impact. I love the story and direction from director Zach Krieger, who also wrote the screenplay. Barbarian is now playing in theaters, and I am giving it 4 out of 5 stars. So you can be sure to catch that one in theaters before it is gone. Next up is Clerks 3. This is the final installment in a trilogy from director Kevin Smith. He started the first one in 1994. I discovered Clerks when I was in college, and I've seen every Kevin Smith film from the Jay and Silent Bob universe ever since. I was obviously the target audience for this. It played in special events through showings nightly throughout the last week. And going in, I was expecting a comedy in line with what you've seen before, but this isn't like what you're expecting. There is plenty of nostalgia in this for Clerks fans. There's a lot of celebrity cameos, but this is a more grown-up world. What worked for me here were the deeper emotional beats and the poignant monologues. In particular, I was taken with Brian O'Halloran and his performance as Dante. He gave a beautiful and compelling performance. His scenes with Rosario Dawson were the highlight of the film for me. I love this more than I expected, and for wholly different reasons than I expected. I think this is my favorite of Smith's Clerks trilogy. Clerks is playing as a special event, as I said, in theaters. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. So be sure to check that one out. Next up is the Netflix film Do Revenge. This one dropped on Friday. Imagine strangers on a train, but as a revenge plot in a teen movie. That's what Do Revenge asks you to buy into. But again, the film subverts your expectations along the way. You think you're watching one story, but it shifts somewhere around the third act. I wasn't taken with the film at first. It felt a little bit too much like a typical teen comedy, but it won me over a bit with the twist, but also with the lead performances from Maya Hawke and Camila Mendez. They're a lot of fun, and that was enough to make it a decent, if not spectacular, watch. I enjoyed the film for what it is, and I suspect that you will enjoy it for what it is as well. I gave it 3 stars out of 5, and it is streaming now on Netflix, so you can head over and check it out. Next up is God's Country, a film that opened at the Sundance Film Festival and now is making its way into theaters. It stars Sandy Newton as a college professor living in a remote area that has a run-in with some local hunters. Over the course of a week, things go from bad to worse, to say the least, during which time she's also dealing with the recent death of her mother. Director Julian Higgins has some nice shots and a few beautiful and poignant scenes. I really love the performance from Newton as well, but the shortfalls in the story kept it from rising to the level I had hoped. Based on some of the promise of the premise, I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. You can catch God's Country in theaters now. Well, I may have mentioned at the top that we are into the spooky season. Barbarian came out. Now we get another streamer. This one dropped on Friday. The English language remake of a 2014 Austrian film, Goodnight Mommy, finds twin boys dropped off with their mother, played by Naomi Watts. She's wearing a mask on her face, and her behavior seems off. The boys become suspicious, and it sort of devolves into a horror plot from there. There's a twist in this one. It's probably not what you're expecting. That might be fine if the rest of the movie was better, but mostly this is dull and vaguely unsettling. I really did like the twins played by Nicholas and Cameron Crevetti, but Watts felt pretty underused. This was kind of a bland one. If you're a fan of the original film, maybe you're going to want to check this out. Otherwise, I gave it 1 out of 5 stars. You can find it on Amazon Prime, but trust me, you have better options. Returning to the theater, I saw the Whodunit, See How They Run. It's a whodunit set on an Agatha Christie play set that is about to be adapted into a film. It's a meta film from the opening voiceover to the closing, but the strong cast and the decent concept sort of had me intrigued. Unfortunately, all the elements don't coalesce together as I'd hoped. I enjoyed the third act a lot and the way it tied back surprisingly to an earlier scene in the film, but it was kind of a ponderous journey to get there. I think that they could have made more out of their cast and premise. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. It is now playing in theaters. Our final new film of the week is The Woman King. This one comes from writer Dana Stevens, who takes us back to 1823 Africa and the kingdom of Dahomey, where the people are suffering under the thumb of a rival tribe and suffering the effects of the slave trade. A new king and his top general, Nanissa, hope to change all that. Nanissa leads a fierce band of women warriors who seek to turn the tide of the war and free their people from the evils of the slave trade. Director Gina Prince Bythewood does a wonderful job bringing the story to life, and I enjoyed the action sequences, but more importantly, I enjoyed the heart of the film. This is a deep emotional drama. Viola Davis is incredible in the lead role. I was certainly blown away by her, but even more impressive to me was the supporting work done by Thuso Babedu, who viewers might recognize from the limited series The Underground Railroad. She was really great, playing a really crucial role, kind of the point of view role, bringing us into the world. I love the film. It's one of my favorites of the year so far. I can't recommend enough checking it out on the big screen. 4 out of 5 stars. That one is obviously in theaters. As I did last week, I want to end with a movie that is new to streaming, and I'm taking a look at Breaking. It's a film that also released in Sundance. I saw it there when it was airing under its original title, 892. It was released as a limited theatrical run a few months ago as Breaking, the title change. It finds John Boyega, who is also in The Woman King, a big week for John Boyega and his fans. He stars as Brian Brown Easley, a Marine veteran who is down on his luck and running out of options. He steps into a bank and tries to change his fortune. The film gave me some Dog Day Afternoon vibes, but it's largely carried by the strong performance from Boyega and Michael K. Williams in his final screen role. I enjoyed the film, and I hope more people get a chance to see these actors work. I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It is now available to rent or own on VOD. Well, that'll bring me to the end of this week's movie review roundup. I hope you liked what you've seen. If you have, be sure to subscribe to the channel and check us out. Eric and I will be back with This Week at the Movies live on Sunday, October 2nd. We will be looking at some horror movies. Until then, I will see you at the movies.